let's go ahead and launch Premiere, all right, like we usually do. Actually, I've already launched it, so let me go ahead and close that out. Start from scratch. Share screen. Okay. Optimize. Share screen. I'm sorry, there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to minimize this. And put that down there. I don't need that. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and launch Premiere. And let's go ahead and create a new project. Just call it exercise 42423. Save it in your exercise folder or wherever you have been saving these things. So I'm going to just make sure I'm saving it into my exercise folder. My Montgomery College spring 2023 folder. There we go. And create. Go ahead and bring in that clip. It's going to need to be rendered, but don't worry about that right away. Well, actually, yeah, we're going to definitely have to render because we're going to put an effect on it. So just grab the whole clip and drop it in your timeline. This is a raw clip, right? Yes, and I'm willing to be a little silly here. We're just going to work with this one clip. So if you want to make your track height a little taller, and just go ahead and turn down the audio, or you can even delete it if you want, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to turn it down because it's not really relevant. It's just background noise. Okay, so you should see this clip. Now this is an old clip. I have newer ones that are actually products of better lighting, but this actually is a good example because not everybody has TV lights. I have other examples. Maybe I can bring one up next week where I have like a TV lights, and I'm much more like, because the lighting is a big part of this, but most people don't have that. So this is an example where I'm just using sort of existing lighting in my house, lamps. I'm doing anything to illuminate this image so I can work with it. So like I said, go ahead and turn down the audio. And for those of you who have the longer version, go ahead and trim it back to about 9 seconds. Rachel and Tommy and yours should end at about 9 seconds. So just go ahead and trim the back end of this for everybody else. We're just going to use this little 9-second clip. All right, so yeah, laugh all you want. So this was actually maybe this is an old thing that I did with my daughters, actually, for my wife as a kind of crazy Christmas present. We were I'll have to find the finished product because we did it years ago, and it was actually kind of a spoof on the Apple commercials where you would see what would be like a black mat, and everybody, it's all the iPhone commercials that they used to do, and the Apple Music. Anyway, so this was some of that raw material. So this is you can see that I have a green cloth behind me. Okay, and again, this is just an option. This is a technique I want to show you, some tools that you have available if you want to try to play around with something like this. You don't have to do the dancing part, but if you wanted to do something with a green screen technique. So you can see that the screen covers me, it's behind me, so I am fully enveloped in it, although I do see the sides of the room and everything here. I've got these lamps here, and I've got some other lighting in front of me that you can't see off camera. And this, like I said, this is pretty old. This is not optimal lighting, okay? If you choose something like this, there's a little bit of a production value involved in this. I've got a much bigger green screen since then, but this is something I did very quickly. So again, this might be more realistic for some of you if you want to try something like this. You don't have to have something that covers the whole room, just enough where your image would be at least, it has to be wide enough to cover, to back you up. Okay. And then again, it doesn't even have to be green. Blue is another color that you could use. You could try white, but that could also be tricky. And the key thing too is you can't have anything on you that matches the color of your background, right? So if you have a green screen, don't wear anything green. Don't wear anything remotely green. If you have blue, don't wear anything remotely blue, okay? Because when you start cutting that layer out, it will also take out that color. This is like the color key we used when we used that bird flying over the background, but now we've got live action. Okay, so first, the first thing we're going to do is this. We're going to actually crop out the stuff that we don't need. All right, so we're going to go into effects. So select your clip in the timeline, and I would recommend go ahead and going into the effects control so you see that clip, right? So if you're in source, select it, go to effects control. So now you're seeing the effect controls panel, right? Right, so you've got the clip in the timeline, you've got the effect controls panel open, and you see the image on the right, right? So let's go into video effects, right, into the main effects panel, and then let's go into the video effects folder. First thing we're going to do is we want to crop this. We want to get rid of any extraneous material that we don't have to mess with, because we're only going to be cutting out the green, right? We don't have to cut this out, but we're going to crop it out. It makes our life easier. All right. So crop is, I forget where crop is. I'm just going to type in crop up here. And there it is. It's in transform, right? So this is a crop tool. Everybody's heard, the typical cropping where you cut off part of a picture, you make it smaller, typical, very classic tool in Photoshop and any kind of photo editing software. So take the crop, and this is the nice thing by having the effects control is I can just drag it right into the effects control. But it's up to you. If you want to drag it down onto your clip, that's fine. So you can click here, you can place it here, or you can put it here. I'm going to put it in my effects control just because it's less distance I have to travel. Okay. So there's your crop. Let's work with that first. Mine opened up right away. If yours didn't, just click on the little arrow and it expands and it shows you this is a basic crop tool, 4 sides, left, top, right, bottom. Right? Have your playhead at the very beginning, select all of these stopwatches, right? And now just crop it. Let's start with the left. And what we want to do is we want to bring that to the point where we only have green. Okay? So click here and drag it, you see, and it will cut out that image. Keep going. And we can fine tune this later, but you want to have it so that you only see green. Now, sort of scrub through this and make sure your my arm and my right arm and my right arm does not go into that black, right? So I'm sort of pretending like I'm playing the guitar. All right, so there I get pretty close, so I won't move it any closer because I don't want to cut off my elbow. All right, so as far as an exact value that I'm getting on the left crop is 31%. All right, now we'll do the right side.
The bottom right.
I'm sorry?
31% left, you said, or
yeah,
right?
left, right
okay,
here,
left.
left side. Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Right. And we're not keyframing this anymore. We're just going to set one value for each of these crops. So now let's go on the right side, okay, which is down here, and drag that, click and drag left. I'm sorry, you got it. Yeah, you got to go right and bring it over till you get to the green screen. And then let's go a little bit more. Okay, so I got it at 30 there, but let's see if my left hand stays within the bounds of the green screen. Okay, all right, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I might even have a little bit more play there. Okay, I can go a teeny bit more. So let's go to like 31 on the right. So I'm literally trying to cut out as much of the background as I as I can. Right, so I've got 31 on the left, 31 on the right. Right, yeah, I'm staying in frame there. And now let's do the top. So the top will bring down just above my head. Right, so there's the top, and you crop it. Oop, not too far. Just get it down just above my head. I'm going to go to 10%. I think that should probably do it. There you go. There's about 10%. If you can't see with the guides, you can always take the guides off. You can right click and take your safe margins out for a minute, if that helps. See, that's pretty good, right? I'm not bopping up and down, so I'm staying, yep, it's not cutting my head off or anything. And now we do the feet. All right, so I'm going to go back and adjust the bottom. And I don't have too much to go here because there's not a lot of room down there. So I'm at about 3% there, maybe. I step back a little bit. Let me try like 4 on the bottom. That's pretty good. Oh, looks, I added a second keyframe, so let me not do that. Let me go back to the first keyframe and reset that first keyframe. There you go. All right, so it's right on my foot here at the very beginning, but that's fine. All right, so my values on my crop are 31 on the left, 31% on the left, 10% on the top, 31% on the right, 4% on the bottom. Okay, so get that to that point. And so now the whole idea is that this is the only color that I have to cut out. I don't have to deal with all this stuff. I just crop it out. It just makes my life easier. Okay, now one thing you'll notice, this green screen's fairly lit okay. One of the tricks with this is that you're going to have slightly different variations of green. Now, this is one solid green. I think this is what they call a Kelly green. It's like classic sort of green. And again, this is some fabric I bought at Joann's, the fabric store. So, if you want to take this route, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to go crazy, but just enough to, cover whatever it is you're going to do, whatever you're going to cut out. Okay. If it's live action. Okay. All right. So there's our crop. We don't have to, I'm not worried about any of the edge feathering and all this stuff. I'm just getting that cut out. So there I am. I'm in my little green box. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the greens. And this is where sometimes it will take a little bit of finesse. So I'm going to collapse my crop effect just so it's not so crazy. And if you search for it up here, just exit out so you can search for other stuff. And now we're going to go back into video effects. Okay. And we're going to go into the keying folder. And we're going to come down here and grab the color key. Right. So drag that in, put it on your clip or bring it into your effects control, whichever. I'm going to bring it into my effects control. And there's my color key. Right. Remember, this is the same thing we use with the clip art of that bird and flying over the mountains. Turn on your key color, your color tolerance, edge thin, and your edge feather. So right now it's looking for blue. We don't want blue, right? We want green. So we're going to click on the eyedropper, right? And we're going to hover it over here and go up here in this upper right-hand corner, just like off my shoulder, and click. Okay, adjust your color tolerance, and it will cut out that green and the closest green to it. Now you got to be careful, because if you go too far, you can see that you start cutting out my face. So because this isn't, and I'm going to increase the size of that display a little bit so we can see it a little better, right? Okay. So you don't want to cut out part of my face. And don't worry if you're still seeing green. We'll deal with that in a minute. So kind of play through it and see, okay, yeah, I'm still there. I've got a little bit of a green edge to me, but that's fine. So I'm going to re-cue it back up to the very beginning. Then I'm going to see how far can I go with this color tolerance. Okay. if I keep going, I can kind of get to about there before I think I start losing my face. So again, the better you light this, the easier this is going to be, which is why I'm kind of glad I'm using something old that's not lit optimally, because it's probably more realistic for what everybody's going to be dealing with. Okay. Now, you still see some green. And remember, all the black that you see is alpha. That's transparency. This, and even behind me, is transparency. We're going to fill that in later. Right now, we got to get the cleanest key we can get. So now, yeah, we can go back and we can adjust the edge thin. So try that at 1. Right? Yeah, that's not bad. But it's kind of eating up my face. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that at 0. And maybe I'll try feathering a little bit. You know, I'm actually going to leave that alone too. I might even take my color tolerance back down to about 62. Yeah, so I'm going to take my color tolerance to about 62. Maybe I'll try. I don't think I can do half values. Yeah. So if I do 1, that's not bad, but I'm kind of, you know, let's go with that. Let's set our let's go ahead and set your edge thin to 1. Again, everybody's computer might be a little different. So there might be some slight different nuances with the sensitivity. All right, and so here's what we're going to do now. Now, because we still have this green, but if we try to cut out this green, we're going to also chop up, we're going to start eating into my body. So what we do is we're going to collapse this color key, do a save, and we're going to add another one. Right, so just grab another color key and drag it in. So this is a second one, right? And this one, we're going to then target this area. So you can use multiples of these, multiple versions of the same, of the color key effect, but each one is identifying a specific shade of the color. All right, so let's go back. All right, so let's cue that back up, turn everything on, right? Click on your eyedropper, come over here, click on that, and then let's see where this gets us. Okay, so that gets rid of a fair amount. Okay, pretty good. But you can see right here, if you're not careful, it starts chewing up the pants. These are gray pants. I probably should have worn something a little bit, because this has like an olive color, you can see. And so it's not, I should have had like yellow or something, but nevertheless, it's what I wore. Okay, so I'm going to try this maybe at about 26. I'm going to go incrementally, 27. You want to try to get this as clean as you can. Try 28. Maybe try that. Let me turn on edge thin. Try that at 1. Not too bad. So you can see the feet still have it. Let me try 2 on that. Maybe we can get away with that. So I've got 2 on the edge thin. So I still have a little bit of an edge on me. So let's jump back. Now try like doing an edge feather. But that's actually going to do it more down around the legs. So that's not bad. So I've got the edge feather at about 6.1 on that second key. And now maybe I'll go back to the first one. So on the second key that I dropped in, right, where I hit the colors down here, I have my tolerance at 28, my edge thin at 2, my edge feather around 6.1. Edge feather softens the edge, right? It's like a blending tool. Okay, now let me go up to the first color key. And if you keep both open, you can see the slight differences in the color, right? The slight hue difference. This is a little darker. This is a little brighter. Okay. So up here, I'm going to mess around. I'm going to go ahead and adjust a little edge feather. It's going to do that top part, right? Because sometimes that will also soften those edges. So what am I at on the edge feather? Let's just try 2.0, right? And then play that back. It's a little better. Again, because the lighting's not perfect, you're going to sometimes see a little bit of a green. Okay. And this also still has to be rendered. All right. So if you want, so I've got the top key 62.1 2.0 for the first key. The second key I have set at 28 for tolerance, 2 for edge thin, 6.1 for edge feather. Your values may slightly differ. Okay. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my, I'm going to right click and turn on the safe margins again, just to give me that reference. Okay. And so now I'm just basically, you know, doing this in front of black. So now, once you get that separated, once you get that cut out, push the video up to 2. And now all you got to do is find something for your background. I'm going to let anybody pick what they want. Maybe go back to some of those jump backs. Try one of those jump backs. Those will be fun that we played around with on project 2. I'm going to let anybody grab what they want. I'm going to go find some and bring some in. Right. And now remember, this is you're working in 720 by 480. So if you bring in one of the HD ones, it's going to be real big, but it's fine. What am I doing? Importing. All right, so I'm going to go find one of those jump backs. If I can remember where they are. Jump backs. Here we go. Let's find one of these. I'm going to try some of these blue, green. Where's the matrix one? Matrix drip. There you go. I'm going to bring in a few different ones and try them out. Right now, film countdown. Sure, why not? So grab any one of these. Hue them up where you want. That's a little dark. Oh, there we go. The green gloves. And then drop that down on 1. So you've pushed your color key image to 2, and then you bring this underneath it, and that, of course, fills in the background. See? So there you are. And now you're playing in this sea of whatever you want to call it, right? If you want to make it bigger, you can still do all of the things that you do to any video clip. For example, if I want to make this a little bigger, then I can do a motion effect on it, right? Play with position, scale, right? You know, as I'm playing, you know, if I want to come up here and get bigger, you know, and adjust that as I come up. It's probably going to get a little softer because this is just some old, you know, standard def stuff. So there I am. So I'm going to doing a little zoom coming up. Looking at my watch. You could even, I feel like I'm a little dark. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, again, you're going to have to render all this. I'm going to go ahead and add a little adjustment here. Lighting proc amp, that could work. So I'm going to use this thing called proc amp. This is in adjust under video effects. I could also use color correction. Let's do that. Let's use color correction here. Right. So now I'm going into the video effects folder again, and I'm going to the subfolder that says color correction. I'm going to open that up, and I'm just going to go with brightness and contrast. I just want to beef up my video level of me. Right. So grab that, I'm in the full body shot here, right? Because I can see the crop and the color key. So again, I can drag it and apply to the clip down here or drag it right here into the effects control. And you see how it knows, right? It stacks it up here with your video effects because this is all audio down here. So now I'm just going to make a very slight brightness adjustment, right? I don't want to make it too bright, but I can bring myself out a little bit, you know? So that's 0. I'm just going to slide a little bit, just make myself a little brighter. There you go, like 17. That way I'm a little cleaner, I'm a little clearer. Actually makes the key look a little better, right? So there you go. So there you have a color key. Now, if you want to try different, you know, backgrounds, copy your key, right? Paste it down here and then try a different background if you want. I want to use the matrix one. So that one looks fun. So try it with different backgrounds, okay? And maybe that background will motivate you. So there you go. So this is like pretty crazy. That kind of gives me a headache. All right. So film countdown. Oh, there you go. This has got this whole thing. So you can see here that now, because the background's darker, I might need to be a little dark, a little brighter. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go back to my contrast here and just give myself a little more brightness. See? So again, the background, you know, might affect that, right? And I'm going to do one more. I thought I brought the matrix thing in here. There it is. Ah, there it is. Got to use this one. So there I am. Again, sometimes now that's it. What's interesting about this, because this is green and it has a very similar color to the chroma, to the green screen, that you might still have a little bit of errors. That one's going to blend in really good. See, I'm actually still, I think I'm going to brighten myself up a little bit, just a teeny bit on that one. There you go. Okay. So try all of those, play around with that, and then go ahead and do a render and see what it looks like finished. Render in to out. Play them back. So of course, if I had some music, I could put music to this. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna find the original for this. Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. How's that working for everybody?
Good so far.
Any questions? Are you able to get the image cut out cleanly from the background?
Yeah, pretty closely.
So again, really one of the keys to this is trying to get the best lighting. And if you try to do something like this outside, I would recommend doing it on a cloudy day, not really cloudy, but if you can have some overcast, because that's actually much more even light than sunlight. Okay. One thing you want to avoid on your background here, again, this is more of a production technique, is avoid the shadows. Now in this, I'm a little close, but I don't have a lot of shadows behind me. So that's why the lighting is mostly along the sides and sort of was kind of like over here, right? It was not right in front of it, it was off. And so it casts very soft shadows in the background, because those are going to be additional things that you're going to have to key out, because they're going to be a little darker than the other parts of the green screen. So the more even you can light, the more evenly that you can light that green screen, right, or blue screen, whatever you decide to use, the easier it's going to be to do this. And then, of course, you want to have some kind of decent level lighting on you, but you can see you can always bring in some of that color correction, brightness, and try to boost yourself up a little bit. Okay, so in this case, as far as using your tools in Premiere, so you've used just on this, short clip, right? Well, you're using a couple of layers. So you're doing some basic compositing. You're doing a very basic motion effects, right? Because I'm sort of like, zooming in on me so I get a little bigger in the screen, whatever I want. I've got a crop, right? Which is a video effect, a basic video effect. And I've got 2 color keys and a brightness adjustment. So I've got some very basic color correction. I've got some keying techniques and a crop, and then a motion effect. So again, here's an example of using, right, those different tools. And you'd have to shoot this. Now, anybody who this was shot, God, I can't even remember, a long time ago. I think this was probably even before I had the iPhone. So, you could shoot something like this with your iPhone. If you have, I have a 6S. Any of those phones would look better than the camera I used on this. This was an old mini DV video camera, 4:3 standard definition with little DV cassettes, right? So this was probably like 20, geez, I think this is like 2013, 2012. So this was 10, 11 years ago, right? So you could do a lot better really with just the simplest tools you have and some decent lighting and a little planning. So, so that's the green screen effect. And again, how might you use this? Well, it depends. If I wanted to get really creative with this, say, like, for example, I want to pretend like I'm playing all the instruments in the band, right? I could do this. I could play a song and I could be playing the guitar, right? And then, sort of match it to the section of the song. And then I go back and I pretend like I'm playing the drums. I'd have to have those instruments, and I actually do. So I could always fake that, a little piano, if there's piano. And then you just layer that, you sync it up, and you'd have to do the same green screen on each image, and you could have them all over the screen and you'd be the same person. So there's a fun, crazy way. You want to incorporate yourself or somebody else, you want to do some sort of special effect, you're making a little short video and somebody has a dream, right? So let's say that person, whatever could, here, let's go ahead and bring the green globs in. You could make that person, I'm going to grab my video again, copy it. Right? I could decide to, instead of him getting bigger, maybe I'll start with him bigger, right? I'll position myself up here. Again, I'm not acting the part, but let me get rid of these. Okay. And I'm going to set a rotation. And let's say as I go back, I could like 5x. Let's try that. See how this works. All right, so I could rotate myself and then I could get myself, really small and disappear. Right? Actually, I'm going to keep it big for a minute so I can position it. I'm going to put myself here and disappear. Right? So, here I go. Oh my God, I'm spinning into a void. Right? So have somebody act like they're scared and there they go. Anyway, lots of things you could do.